Hi, guys. Welcome to Dixie's Corner podcast. This is actually our third podcast, and today we're going to be talking about custom Disney villainous or custom villainous in general. I have a custom creator with us, Cortosis. Cortosis, say hi.
Hi.
Oh, that was so bland.
You said say hi, to be fair. Fine. Let me do my normal one. Salutations and greetings.
There we go. We'll get him up to date on how to do a podcast here. So
Call
with
the emergency.
customs, this is another thing you can find in the workshop area if you want to a tabletop simulator. Some people do print them out. I want to figure out how people do that, but they do it. Um, but I guess the main thing is how do people go about creating a custom? Is there like a link that they can click on? Is there an area they can go to? How do they do that?
Well, a lot of it is done through some wonderful folks in the Let's Get Wicked Discord community, which is a Discord server that is centered around both Disney and Marvel Villainous alike, just the franchise in general. So there have been some wonderful people who are really good with coding and with graphic design software, and they've been able to create basically templates for people to follow if they want to make their own custom. Now, in terms of creating a custom, it's probably best to get like ideas first, right? Usually it comes from a person's desire to see their favorite bad guy represented in a board game. And Villainous has a very fun, but also a very simple um, kind of template to follow in terms of game mechanics. You play cards, you have a currency, you discard cards, you move stuff, you defeat stuff based on um, a comparison of strength between good guys and bad guys. Um, and you have freedom to even create new stuff as well, based on whatever character you want. So, in Disney Villainous in particular, there are going to be, as of this podcast, there are going to be um, 21 of official villains as of next week. Um, but even with those 21, so many others have been created in customs because they haven't been represented in the official released game. So official Disney villains are plentiful, but maybe some unofficial ones such as Shere Khan or Shan Yu or Clayton or Oogie Boogie. These characters have been designed by just fans of the game who have taken kind of how Villainous works and tweaked some stuff about it to give their characters their own board game life, so to speak.
Right. And I can say from playing majority of the customs, which you can find on the workshop for on tabletop Disney Villainous, you can find it on the workshop, which is where most people find their customs they want to play. They are pretty. You can still play them with the main 18/21 villains. They're not, one is overpowering than the other, and I think the customs community in general does a pretty good job of trying to make sure that there's a balance between them because there are people out there that don't like to play the customs. It's their
Yeah,
prerogative to do so. But what's how do you make sure that they're equally devised, should we say?
like balanced and
They're
stuff.
balanced, yeah.
Balancing is probably one of the most difficult parts of creating a custom because you can give a character that you design like, oh yeah, they do this in their show or their movie or their game, and I'm gonna make it so they can do kind of the same thing here, and it's gonna be super strong and really good. But then you might create too many of those, and then it gets to be too overpowering, and the fate mechanic of the game doesn't do enough to hurt you in
Mm-hmm.
that sense. So you might even have to nerf that. There's also the potential of over nerfing a character to the point where one fate will set you back a dozen turns. That's an exaggeration, but you can't basically do enough to keep up with some of the official villains. Um, so playtesting is a big thing, and even official game developers do playtesting. So do we as customs creators. Um, because of how large the Let's Get Wicked community is in the Discord server, it's really easy to just say, "Hey, can anyone help me play test right now?" And usually you'll get someone.
Mm-hmm.
People are very willing to help each other and to give honest feedback. And sometimes that can be um, congratulatory. Like, dude, I really love this. The deck is really well balanced and it's really fun to play. Or you'll get some negative reviews, in which case someone will be like, "Yeah, I don't enjoy playing this. I've seen a lot of the other customs you make, and none of them are good."
Ah, that's so
And
brutal.
that kind of thing is hard to hear. So,
I can
and those
say
are
I can
pretty
say a lot
unspecific.
of the community enjoys playing them. I don't think I play tested with you. I think
Yeah, I think you
once.
did it a couple times when I was like still in my infancy stages of being a
Aw, I
creator.
was a little infant.
Yeah, I definitely think I've learned a lot more because at the beginning, and can start going into some of the mechanics. Um, in the beginning, some of the beginning customs I did were basically taking mechanics that already existed from the official boxes and just kind of tweaking them a little bit to work for a character that I wanted to see.
Mm,
One example being Mr. Waternoose. I thought it would be really cool for Waternoose to um, have one of his four locations be essentially the human world. And it would always be locked because you don't want to go to the human world. And he would have this ability to banish both heroes and allies to the human world and essentially lock them there as part of his mechanic while he's trying to defeat Boo using the Scream Extractor. I think was
yeah,
the old
yeah.
custom. But I had mechanics in him that were like a mixture of Captain Hook's Worthy Opponent and Scar's Long Live the King. It was like gain one power and then reveal three cards, and then you can play a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think I said you had to play a hero in accordance with like how Worthy Opponent worked. But that card was really, really good, and it ended up being maybe a bit too strong for him. But eventually, he just became a really weird blend of Hook and Scar, and I think Radigan to a degree as well.
Right.
And it was fine. It worked, and it seemed pretty balanced. You could still beat him. Um, but then that gets to the point like, is it fun to play? And the honest answer for that version of Mr. Waternoose was no, it's not. It's not fun to play. I'm digging for this in my Fate deck, and I'm digging for this in my villain deck, and then I just need power. And it was not hard to do, and it wasn't necessarily fun to do.
Right.
So
And
things like that happen.
I've seen the updated version of that, and personally, I think the updated version one looks like a lot more fun to play. Um, a lot more
Yeah.
mechanics and a lot more outside the box kind of thinking, um, which is one thing. One thing I'm always going to stress across the line of any villainous that you play, Disney, Marvel, customs, it doesn't matter. Read your cards, people. Read them, because what you think it might say may be different than what you think the creator meant from it originally. Um, that's one thing. If you do join the Let's Get Wicked server, if you have a question about a card in the customs area, I believe they have a general discussion section where you can type in there and be like, "Hey, what does this card really intend to do?"
Yeah,
And or if you know the creator itself, just be like, "Hey, question mark. What do I do with this?
right.
How do I play this card?" Um, the next thing that I really think is interesting, last two boxes, Despicable Plots, and the one coming up here next week in Bigger and Better, all have characters that were originally customs. You
Yeah.
created a Syndrome custom,
Yes.
and there was a Lady Tremaine custom, and a Gaston custom, and a Madame Mim custom, and there's a Lazzo custom.
Yep.
And
So
don't
sorry.
know personally. I think they're taking a lot of the ideas from those customs and interpreting them into the gameplay. I think that's just personally me, but I don't know how you guys feel about it in the custom world.
Fun. Well, I mean, for one thing, I started getting into the custom making because I really wanted to see Syndrome in Disney Villainous. I'm like, he deserves to be there. And when I started realizing that they were only pulling from like animated Disney films at first,
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I need to make my own and try and figure this out. So then it goes into thing like, all right, if he's going to be a character, what's his objective going to be? Okay, well in his movie, he tries to basically defeat his own Omnidroid uh, to get people to like him and get supers out of the way, right? So I'm like, okay, well then let's have him defeat the Omnidroid. Let me create the Omnidroid, and then he has to get it from his island all the way to the city in some way or whatever. And there were mechanics that were created, and it's like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. Syndrome is one of those other ones that's like he had a infancy stage, and then I updated him again, where he's a lot more fun.
Hmm.
But I'm honestly really, really excited to see the creators in Ravensburger or Ravensburger. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest.
I always say Ravensburger. If you know the actual pronunciation, let us know because I don't think
Tell us,
anybody
please.
knows.
But I'm actually really excited to see that they went for it. I've seen based on the leaks that have happened some of Syndrome's mechanics, and it's honestly very, very cool to see some of the ones that I thought up of months/years ago actually have kind of made their way into that one too, which gives me kind of a sense of pride as a creator. I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing stuff that like paid game designers are coming up with,
Right.
and that's really cool to see. And I'm still really proud of how mine is, and I think I might even try and like still get it into like the official workshop hub, because I mean there's another Gaston already, and
Yeah.
there's still another Horn King that's in there as well.
Oh, I forgot about
So
him.
different characters have been created. I don't even remember a Gaston custom until after Despicable Plots came out, but I could be wrong. But I tried my hand at a Lady Tremaine custom. I know there was a Horn King custom. I've done Syndrome. There's been Lotso, and there's been at least three different Madame Mims that I've seen.
Yeah. And a lot of those, we've played those on custom stream nights, which you can find in the YouTube channel link. Which, believe it
Mhm,
or not, our customs have a lot more reviews and a lot more like attention than the actual Disney Villainous, which I think is amazing because
mhm,
our community is very pro customs. They want to see what people else do on their free time and how they would interpret the game. And that's kind of where my mindset is when someone spends the time, mind you, it's not like they sit down for a couple hours and they create a game and there you go, magically it's on the workshop. They spend hours, days, sometimes weeks, especially with court working and uh,
mhm.
being school and doing all of that. They take a long time to create these things, find pictures, make sure it all logically makes sense, make sure it's balanced with the actual physical characters. So I personally enjoy customs. It took me a while to appreciate the customs because I a lot of them, now that they're ranked, I like the fact that they're ranked. Now that they're ranked, a lot of them you can be like, okay, let me play this one because it's a level 3 and I think it'll go good with Mother Gothel and being able to keep up with her. You know, I just, I don't know. I give y'all props. I don't have time for that. I barely have time to stream some days. Um,
Yeah.
but my thought process is, I know we talked about it on President's Day, um, when you were play testing solo. Play testing solo. Um, your process in making a game, you go back and rewatch the movie, and then you take detailed observations on that movie, and then you sit down and you think about what you want to do and go from there. And
Yeah.
that's amazing. Um, I just think it's amazing. So I know that Jinx, who created Shere Khan,
Mhm.
Shere Khan has been edited numerous times, guys. He put it
Yeah.
on there. We've played it a couple times, and then he was like, "Well, this just it doesn't make sense. So let me try it this way." And I think being able to do that is amazing. I don't know how many times you guys go in and put it up there and then watch people play it and you're like,
Yeah.
this just doesn't work. They aren't grasping the concept I was thinking. And is it hard for people to grasp a concept in most of the customs, in your opinion?
It really depends, to be completely honest. So at least when I'm designing customs, I really try to think of like, does this make sense for like a new player?
Mm-hmm.
I try not to create stuff that's like ridiculously advanced and overly complicated. Um, so in terms of the ranking that you were talking about, where it's like one is easy, two is medium, three is hard uh, to grasp and start playing off the bat, I will do two at most.
Right.
Um, because I have seen some customs where it's just like, I don't understand anything that is going on here. What is going on? And part of that is, I think you mentioned this like oh so briefly near the beginning, but it's the words on the
Yes.
card. Like you said, read your cards,
Read your cards.
and are you seeing it the way the creator interpreted it?
Mm-hmm.
In the customs community, if a player is interpreting it differently than what we intended, that is our fault, not theirs. We need to make sure that it's worded exactly how we want it to be played.
Exactly.
So that's a weird one, but
And even in, not even customs, but sometimes in some of the original villainous cards, you don't understand what the card means. There's a couple
yeah.
times that I have played a character and I'm like, well, this is what it intends to mean, I think, and then someone else that I'm playing against says, no, no, this is what it's supposed to mean, and then you're at the point, for example, outrage in Pete's deck, using the fate deck to move an item or ally, I can play that, and then other people are like, no, it's on my physical board, and I'm like, well, technically, you moved the item
Oh yeah.
during your
And
turn, so.
that's honestly a big thing that was even happening before Corella's box came out. I forget what
Mm-hmm.
it was called. Why am I forgetting what it's called?
Deception.
Uh no. The box name, because we have Evil Comes Prepared. Oh, Perfectly Wretched. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
When before Perfectly Wretched came out, we were talking about things like, no, if there were other conditions, like if someone moves an item or ally or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the biggest thing that came up was, what if a player somehow defeats another player's hero during a fate action? Um, and that was like, will that pop ferocity if it wasn't their own hero? And the answer was yes. So that started creating this thing of like, oh, so it doesn't matter what realm someone does an action in. If they do it, whether it's by fate or themselves in their own realm, you can trigger that condition.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Pete's outrage, where it's like, if anyone moves an item or ally during their turn, you get to play this. That means that Horus Horsecaller and Pluto, both two strength heroes that move items and allies in Pete's realm, can be instantly deaded with outrage,
Yeah. And
which
that
is such a cool thing. Because it's like, yeah, I'm outraged that you moved my thing in my realm, so you're dead now.
go away. And I I have seen customs. I had to mute the channel. I had to unfollow that channel because it was always going off and I was like, guys, my phone, my poor little phone cannot take this anymore.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of Let's Get Wicked muted. Don't worry.
And sometimes I mute my own channel. Come at me. It's fine. But sometimes I have to mute you guys because you just constantly are going on and bleh. But back to the topic on hand. I rambled on.
That's true. I think we were on Jinx and like kind of like how many revisions
Yes.
customs go under, and that is
Revisions.
ridiculously true.
Yes, and it's going back to what he was saying is that it just in general you try and play test to the best of your abilities. And I have seen some customs out there. Oh my god. Desktop, one of my friends on Steam, and yes, his name is Desktop. He has a custom incorporating Marvel somehow
Okay.
with characters that you're playing, and you have to obtain the ability per character. My brain was just. I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna fate you until I figure out if you lost or not. Um, and that's part of the reason why a lot of villainous TTS players will say no customs, because it's hard for them to say, okay, I've never seen this person, this character before, and I just don't know if it's going. How do I stop them? How do I fake them? And hey, guys, they create villain guides. Ah, surprise!
Yeah.
And they take a lot of energy creating villain guides. Read the villain guides. Don't be like me and not read the villain guides and hope for the best.
Villain guys is so hard.
But just overall, I think the custom community is doing great. There's a lot of good ones out there. Take the time,
Mhm.
guys. They put a lot of work into them. Enjoy playing them because you never know. You may see them on a box one day, like we've recently become. And I think the Horn King custom and the Horn King in the actual box are the same.
You would be surprised to learn they are not.
Oh, they're not?
They are not.
Oh,
So,
okay. Ignore me
um,
then.
they have similar functions and objectives where they both need to claim the Black Cauldron in a sense. Now, before the whole relic card type was created for the official Horn King, um, and having it be a tile on the side, the custom Horn King had it as simply an item, and when it was played, you had to play it to Morva, and then you had to move it all the way across your board to your castle, like the Magic Lamp.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you could start playing your Cauldronborn, and I think you had to start your turn with one at each location. Was how it worked.
Right. Oh,
Um, so that was a
custom
big
is fun.
difference. Where the current Horn King is just as you have it, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
But the custom is start your turn with it, and then you're done. So both are still pretty good or decently strong in their own right. Both are well designed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Horn King was a favorite custom of mine to play casually um, all the time because it made sense. It had good mechanics. It had fun mechanics. That was unique. Um, so yeah, it was just well made.
Yeah. I think they're all very, very, very well made. Um, Now there are some that I will not play. I will not mention them, but there are some that I don't play because I think their mechanics are just off-putting to me. Um,
Mhm.
and there are some that I think are very interesting. Um, for example, Jinx's Shere Khan. His fading is not a normal fading, guys. You literally
Mhm.
pick one off the top, you don't look at it, and you place it somewhere. So you better hope that that one on the top is not Mowgli. Um, just saying. But
Yeah.
which out of the customs that we have on TTS are some of your favorites, Court?
So some of my personal favorites, I think, still we got Bill Cipher. Um, he is probably one of the most classic customs that's there, just because his unique anomaly deck and card type is just so fun to use. And then you're making deals with heroes, which is basically hypnotizing. Um, but it's created in such a way that's really enjoyable to play. Um, Other customs I really do enjoy. I still enjoyed Shere Khan. I think Jinx has done a good job with it, and I want to talk a little bit more about the whole revision thing later. Um, I've also enjoyed Chick Hicks, which I think was also Jinx. Don't quote me on that. Um, Headmaster Ditto has done some stuff with Minecraft hostile mobs and
Oh yeah.
Taboo from Smash Brothers Brawl. They are not like in the official workshop, but I found them and I downloaded them. I'm like, these are stupid fun to play. I really like this. um, so yeah, there's I think Swiper is another fun one.
Oh, Swiper's
Swiper
really fun.
from Dora the
Um,
Explorer.
Bowser. Bowser's a fun
Oh
one. I
yes,
like the
I forgot
Bowser
about
one.
Bowser.
Um, and then going back, you said you wanted to talk more about the revision and how you
Yeah,
you can go ahead and do that. Not sure.
Well, it's brief thing. Like revisions are interesting because you can be like, I am done with my custom, I am satisfied. And then a few months later, you're like, I don't really like how this goes anymore. But because it was never officially put out in a box, you have the freedom to change it up and make revisions to
Right.
it. So I think Jinx's Shere Khan has been solid for quite a few months now,
Mm,
without any updates, and people still enjoy it. But now he's looking at it, he's like, I think I need to change some things. And people say that about, like, say, Ursula from the original box.
right.
They say there's just speculations like Ursula should have been designed later. Her mechanics are kind of there, but they need more fletching out. But because she's officially released, there's not really a lot of room to do that. There have been some card changes, so like how Ariel was eventually reworded to say, instead of no moving items, it was specifically don't perform the move an item or ally action. Tinkerbell has been recently changed to force an item to be discard or ally to be discarded, and not a may discard an ally. So there's little things that can get changed in official releases, um, but in the customs world, nothing's ever official, and you have total freedom to keep revising and changing as long as your heart desires.
And I don't know if you recently, going back to like revisions in the main boxes, Joker Jonesy actually put out a Disney Villainous 2.0 video. I highly recommend you guys checking that out. And it's things that he would recommend that Ravensburger should have done versus what they did do. For example, gaining power so quickly for Queen of Hearts, things like that. And revisions,
Hmm.
like you said, once it's out there, it's out there. You can't really change it, especially if it's been put in a box and sent to hundreds and hundreds of people in the world.
Hmm.
Which, good luck getting anything in Target when that happens. Um, Trust me, Target's gonna be hit like no tomorrow. I would be shocked if they don't put a limit on how many people can walk out with on that day. Um, but in the customs world, you guys have a lot more freedom on what you can produce and what you guys can put out on the table for us to look at. And that's part of the reason why I think that you guys do such a good job. And I really don't have. I wish I could do it. Gosh, my creativity and everything's like out the window. I've been raised by a military man all my life, so they're like, "Here's the box. Stay within it. Don't venture outside that box." But when
That's yeah.
when you have your girlfriend who's in digital design and you have you who's an education person, you guys have the freedom and the mindset of imagination built into you, and you can do so much with it. A lot of, for example, my brand logo that you guys see, Erica designed that. Erica put a lot of time and effort into that, and just in general, anybody that does design, whether it's custom building or creating stickers or making logos or anything like that, I give you guys so much props because I can't do that. I tried one time, it didn't go well for me. I can barely draw a stick figure, but yeah, you guys do great, and I think hopefully this will show you guys all the work that they actually put into it, all the work that they give to the community. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to any of them in the Let's Get Wicked server, which is linked down in the description below. And if you want to check out the 2.0 version Luke Jones put out, that will also be put down there as well. And I'll even put in Rat Poison's um, YouTube channel, which
Mm,
he's a
yeah,
major custom person. Highly recommend being his friend. Just saying.
yeah. He's a
Um,
cool guy.
he's very nice. He's laid back for sure. Um, but is there anything else you want to say, Court?
Um, I had something and I might have lost it. Oh, no, there it is. I got it. I got it. I got it. Okay. So, to anyone out there that would actually want to try doing customs, I will say, please, like, one, um, make sure you know, like, how villainous mechanics work. There's a lot of basics in it where things can be discarded or played, um, or moved or whatever. There's very basic, standard, foundational mechanics in the game that you should keep. But please also think outside the box. Um, I can give two examples, even just from my own customs. One of my more popular ones that I'm known for is actually Alameda Slim from Home on the Range. And I honestly find that interesting because his mechanics are extremely foundational. There's not really anything new about him, especially in comparison to all these newer mechanics that are coming out in the previous two boxes. However, when you start going into some of the ones I've redesigned, such as Water Noose, I've created another custom currency. I've created another custom action. Um, I've created cards that are just like, do this. And those kind of things haven't really been seen. And it all depends on like what kind of thing would you really want to see for your character? What's going to work for it? And then also balancing out the fate to counter it is something that we already talked about balancing, but but yeah, I just want to say like encourage you like think outside the box. Um, there's no reason that you can't create your own card types. Um, there's no reason that you can't alter some of the actions and the layout of the realm. Um, just lots of different stuff that you're able to do. So be creative or hire someone else to be creative for you. That's how Alameda Slim was created. It was suggested to me by a friend, and I did it.
Oh, I definitely hire people outside to be creative for you. Trust me, it's working for me. And I think that's all I have to say. Remember, guys, think outside the box. No one else is like you. You know, all that stuff your parents feed you as a child. Um, I don't think there's anything else I have to say. But remember to check out those customs. If you have any questions about the custom, like I said, the Let's Get Wicked server is going to be linked in the bio below because my Discord does not have a custom channel anymore. It wasn't
Mm,
being used, so therefore it was removed. Bye bye. Um, but if you have any questions on how to get started, Cortosis is one to reach out to. Jinx is one to reach out to. Rat Poison will be one to reach out to. Um, any of those guys can definitely guide you in the right direction. And like he said, if you don't know anything about villainous, definitely go out and buy the box, learn
mm-hmm.
how to play, and then create a custom.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the best thing I can say. Go out, get the boxes, play, join the discords, and just have a great time, guys. Because in general, this is all about having fun and enjoying the friends you have because some of them live miles and miles away where have to get on a plane and literally ride 8 hours away. Cortosis. And
Okay, first of all, it would be 5 hours. Okay,
with a
so
layover,
touche,
if it's a straight flight, it's still 8 hours.
touche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ohio to California. It's hard.
Mm,
Um, or I could drive there. That's only like a whole week trip. Um,
I think I've actually like seen what it's like to drive from California to Florida, and it's like 28 hours
it's very long. I'm
straight.
sorry, I can barely drive to Toledo and not get anxiety. Um, but yeah, just go out, get the boxes, have a good time. And next week we will be talking about game board games and family style games. That's an interesting topic, huh? All right, everyone have a good day. Court, say goodbye.
So long, everyone.
So long, farewell, and I will see you guys next week.